Hi, this is Paula Caston. Welcome to our webinar today, Tuesday, April 5th, 2016. Today we want to spend about 30-40 minutes to talk about the unexpected in SnapComms alerts, how to use them in crisis situations. This is the first of many administrator workshops that we hope to put on through a webinar vehicle to help administrators use SnapComms even better than they do now. So let's get started. Now, let me get over here to advance my slides. Before we go on, though, I want to talk a little bit about who we are, SnapComms. Now you may use us, but just to give a little bit of background, over 1.1 million users are currently what we have on our platform. We're an enterprise software company, as you probably know. We're present in 45 countries, more than that actually, if you can believe it. And we really pride ourselves on our support and updating our platform to what our customers are looking for. So that's a little bit about who you're talking to today. And here, this is me on the left, Paula Casson. And helping me out, and you aren't going to hear much from them right now, Kim Cooper and Phil are on as well. They're going to be looking at chat and helping manage questions and things like that that come up while we have this presentation. So first off, our goals for this session, we really would like this to be interactive. We're going to be asking you some questions. Just use the question area in your GoToWebinar control panel to just throw in an answer or two to anything that you're happy to share, with info you're happy to share. And we're hoping that you'll leave with a better understanding of what you can do with SnapComms, especially for crises in this case, and have more confidence to get ready to prepare and execute. And ultimately, we really want, hopefully you'll find something practical here that you can take away and use immediately. Okay, so we're not going to stay too theoretical. We're going to really get into the application of SnapComms. So for our agenda, 6 areas here. We're going to follow this circle looking at how we define a crisis alerts, how to set up SnapComms when it comes to alerts and quick publish, a relatively new feature you may not have been across. And then we'll look at how to set this up as a process in your organization so that it stays alive and relevant. Okay? Now, let's get started with a crisis. What do we mean by crisis? So, I think in our case we want to start rather generally. A crisis is anything that can negatively impact your business, right? And can threaten its survival at the very highest level. And Deloitte, there's a link here you'll see to some research by Deloitte. And I love this quote, every 5 years you can expect a value-destroying incident. That's pretty surprising to me, but I suppose maybe not. When it happens is what we need to think about, not if it happens. So to follow up on that, a lot of companies think they're prepared, but when Deloitte dug down, they found that half of all companies are not actually as prepared. They haven't done the best practice steps that are recommended for crisis situations. So there's a link for you again. This is just some background research for you in case you need it, and a bit of context. And now let's dig down a little. For you, we have an audience here. Some people I know are in IT, some are in corporate communications, large, small organizations. So, we'll leave it up to you to define what kind of crisis scenario you're most concerned about. And also, you definitely want to look at what exists already. You may be on that team, you may be part of that conversation, but if not, you probably want to find out what exists and tie SnapComms alerts into that rather than set something up separately. So we do encourage you to talk to colleagues when you're looking at SnapComms alerts for crises, tie into what they're already doing, okay? And for now, these are the 4 categories that we like to focus on where there's some strong use cases for SnapComms as a way to help when you need to get the word out to employees. So, hey, pick one to do now, and also, if you're happy to share, which one is most important to you? I'd love to know what you think about that. And let me have a look. I've got one person saying major announcements is what they'd use it for. Another one saying IT outage type alerts, major announcement. Okay, good to know. Good to know. And someone else has said they're not using alerts at all, they're using tickers. So, well, this will be new for you then. Okay, major announcements and outages. Thanks for sharing that. So, moving along. Alerts. Let's look at SnapComm's alerts. So, an alert, most of you probably know this, an alert is a visual message that you can send out to a specific group of people. You can get it out really fast. You can have it on their screen in a matter of minutes and really drive action or drive understanding, awareness of what's going on. So I'm going to pull up an example while we're looking at this slide. I'm going to pull up a full screen example so you can see what you could do. So we were in PowerPoint mode, full screen, and now you can see this big red screen. This is an alert window that's been set to emergency mode. It's going to cut through anyone that's in full screen presentation mode, or it's going to go on top of any application, and we're going to reach every user on a computer that is active. And even if they're inactive on their computer, if they got back to their device in a minute or two and logged in, it's going to be the first thing they see. And here, I'll hit the close button. I can find my cursor. There it is. I'll close that out. Now I'm back to my PowerPoint. So that's an example of the kind of cut through you can provide on a computer to get these messages out. So now, are you using SnapComms for crisis messaging now? And if you're not, what do you use? What do you use right now? I'd love to know what you use for crisis situations. And if you want to just focus on the ones you mentioned earlier, that would be great. So let me see what we've got coming in. And we have used it for network outages. I see one person letting us know that. Someone here said not using yet. It's too new. Okay, good to know. And not for crisis yet. Company uses email for crisis as of now. Okay, I'm seeing a few people that are saying email is what's used for crises. That makes sense. I understand that. And let me just check if there's anyone more. Currently using emails. Only 4 people in the company know how to use SnapComms, so when speed is of the essence, this one says, emails are the go-to communication method. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks for letting us know that. Hopefully you'll consider SnapComms with what we're going to go through now. Because what we really want you to do, we want you to set everything up ahead of time now, prepare it now, so when you do have a crisis, it's ready to go and you can be a hero and you can use our platform, leverage it at that time without spending a lot of effort. Make sense? Okay, so alerts. Let's look at a bit of setting up an alert. And now we're going to get into SnapComms, into the Content Manager, which most of you are familiar with. We're going to do a few screenshots. And by the way, if you look up here on some of our slides, you will find a link in this little bubble. And this one takes you to a full detailed guide if you want to know how to send an alert and all the details about every type of feature or setting that we have in there. That's where you want to go. We're not going to get in that much detail right at the moment. But we're going to talk about setting up, presetting your audience, presetting best practice for your message, best practice for delivery, display options, and then also just some administrator back-end type things you can do ahead of time. All right. So this is what the alert looks like in the SnapComms Content Manager. You'll see on the left-hand side we have the alert. On the right-hand side you have a series of tabs, and you can go through these tabs to set up your content, who's going to get it, through what channels, which people are getting it, what is the lifespan for this message, etc. All right, so here, first off, audience. Who do you need to see this message? So some people mentioned earlier on that major announcement would be the kind of announcement they were looking at. So in that case, if you have a major announcement, we have a setting called whole organization. That is going to send the message out to anyone who is a user on SnapComms. Everyone who has the software installed will get this message. It's a really easy way to make sure that anyone who's working right at this moment or right today will get this message. And of course, we can also tap into your existing distribution lists, usually through Active Directory. So all those distribution lists that marketing or IT or corporate maintains, we synchronize with those, of course, and you can use those as well. So I would say major announcement, there's a few easy ways to get to anyone who's connected that should see this. Other kinds of announcement outages, though, you may want to send. Maybe it's SAP that is having an issue, and why don't we just send to SAP users, not to anyone else? If they don't have a login to SAP, let's not let them know about this. So that exists. Location groups is another good one. I think the two big things here, use groups that are synchronized so they don't get out of date. Don't use manual groups that you've set up. They will get out of date. And make sure you align the group of people that you're sending the message to the ones who actually care or are impacted by whatever the event is that you're sending out info on. All right. And again, there's a link up here. If you want to get into details of each one of these, click through there and you'll get a rich interface for that. So now content, message. What are you going to put in this message? I know it sounds obvious, but sometimes it's not. You want to keep your message as simple as possible. You want to make it easy to absorb. And don't forget, tell them what's happening, but also tell them what you need them to do, whether it's lock your office door, whether it's, talk to your manager if you're talking about an announcement. Or in this case, here's an example where, there's a physical hazard. We really want you to avoid a certain area. This actually is an example that's based on a manufacturing customer of ours who does use SnapComms in this way. And some of the other best practice tips, of course, are if you're talking about a situation that's going to freak them out, do reassure them, show empathy for their point of view, right? And point them to resources, right? Use this, put in hyperlinks to the resources you have on the intranet, or in this case, the storm warning example has a number. Here's a phone number. That's our voicemail. We're going to put updates on that voicemail. Call in anytime to find out what the instructions are. If you have anything like that set up already, leverage that and use the alerts to send people to those resources that they may have forgot about. Now, in terms of visuals, don't forget that the frame, the border of the alerts is completely customizable. There's some generics that we give every customer, but you can also, we can also upload, map out any visual look and feel that you want, right? And that's great. Use it. I wouldn't say most, but a lot of our customers do color code their templates. They'll use red, yellow, green. Red for severe, that's used rarely. Yellow is critical. And green, especially with an IT outage or a weather or some sort of scenario that is going to be resolved, you can send through a green alert afterwards and let them know everything's back to normal. Here's what you need to do. And of course, I've written in here on this slide as well, corporate. You do want something with corporate branding for important messages coming from the CEO or official messages from the company. So I would say at least 4 templates can be quite useful, give you a lot of flexibility when you're getting out there with crises. Okay, so now we're back to looking at a screenshot of the Content Manager, and we're on the Advanced tab. This is where all the beautiful settings are, where you can really fine-tune how this shows up on screen. And if you look at this top line, alert settings, standard alert, that's for your day-to-day messages, but we have urgent and emergency. And Kim reminded me earlier, you may not see these. If you don't see urgent and emergency, please email us or talk to your account manager, let us know. We can get these turned on for you. Urgent and emergency, what they give you are some options for better cut through, if you will. And the descriptions are here in these call-out boxes. I won't read them verbatim. But urgent, emergency, this is what lets you go full screen, show up on top of something that's people that are in full screen mode. A standard alert is not going to interrupt someone if they're in full screen mode. For obvious reasons, if you're in a meeting, you really don't want an internal message coming up on top of a presentation, that kind of thing. So this gives you that ability to cut through when it's really important, all right? So definitely go through these settings, and you can preset your message to match the importance of cut through you need. Now we're to the fourth point in that list I showed earlier. In terms of best practice for administrators, here's some other things you want to do in the back end to make sure you're ready. First off, save all your emergency templates, if you will, these messages that you're setting up now. Make them easy to find. You can set up many folders, and I know for a large organization there's all sorts of folders that you're going to need and have visible there. But if you can, use a top-level folder for these. And you can even bookmark, you can use our bookmark feature so that, you know, key administrators, that's their landing page, so they get there right away. So have a think about how you want to set up the messages. And secondly, administrator access. We recognize there's usually some power administrators that are in here all the time using it for many reasons. They're very familiar with SnapComms and the power behind it. They know how to use it. But you have to make sure you have backups, right? If you're I don't know, a small, medium, maybe even a large organization, do you have backup administrators who are going to be there on vacation and really understand how to use it? Or if you're sick, make sure you have enough administrators so there's always someone there able to get a message out. And again, I do recommend bookmarking, you know, decide what you want the landing page to be for some of those backup administrators who aren't in here all the time, so it's easy for them to find what they need. And the last point here, publish method. So you want to, once you've created messages, and if you look on the right under this crisis folder I have as an example, you can see we have two with similar titles, so we've copied that message and resent it out. That's one thing you can do. You can go to your list of messages, make a clone of it, resend it out. The other thing you can do is simply open a message up, change the text a bit, and send it. So have a think about which way makes more sense to you. Resending is faster, but copy send is a little cleaner from a measurement reporting point of view. It takes a little bit longer. And that takes me to the next area we want to talk about, and it's very bottom line on this slide, Quick Publish. Quick Publish is a new feature we have that can help you get messages out even faster. So let's take a look at that now. Quick Publish. Now, has anybody heard of it? We created this feature about a year ago for a large company's IT division that wanted to simplify down sending out outage notifications. They wanted all their help desk people to be able to send them out, but they didn't want to have to train them all up, and they wanted to make sure they didn't make mistakes. So let me just have a look. Is anybody using Quick Publish? And I have one person saying, no, not using it yet. Which version of the software is this available on? Someone else saying we don't use Quick Publish mainly, we use tickers. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like for most, is Quick Publish an extra feature? What else? Yes, it looks like most of you haven't heard of Quick Publish, which isn't surprising because we haven't really spent a lot of energy promoting it yet. But Quick Publish, it is an extra feature. It's not on by default. So if you don't see it here in your content manager under the content calendar, it's not going to be on for you. So it sounds like most people haven't necessarily heard of it and they don't use it. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you. So what we do is we can reduce the number of steps it takes to get a message out. You can turn any alert message into a template. You can lock down the settings that you don't want anyone to touch. And you can get it down to 3 steps. You just click on the template, you update the content in the message body, and you hit send. And the idea, save time, get these messages out faster, reduce any errors when it comes to targeting or time frame, etc. and make sure all of the administrators are sending consistent messages, right? So that's really what the point is. And again, you'll see here we have a link. There's a lovely video done by Jane that goes over this, that shows you exactly what it is if you want to get into the detail. I will show you a little bit now, though. I want to show you quick how fast it is to get a message out. So let me pull up my administrator portal. So here we are, ready to go. And I'm in the Content Manager. You can see the familiar navigation tree on the left. And on the right, here is my Quick Publish view. I've got 5. You can see I have 5 templates. 2 are for outages, 1 for weather, 1 for safety. I'm sorry, I don't have a major announcement in here. But I think you'll get the idea. And also, I'll let you know, this little star down here, this is that bookmark tab. If you're an administrator, if you click that, whatever page you click bookmark on, that's going to be your landing page the next time you log in. And this Quick Publish screen, this is my landing page. When I log in to SnapComms, it's the first thing I see, because these are the messages that I want to find and use the most. All right, so let's look at an example. Let's say weather closing early. I'm in Dallas. I'm actually not, but let's say I'm in Dallas, and we've got a lovely hurricane coming up, and we're going to let everybody go home early today. So this is a scenario that's happened more than once. And if you see, instead of having the 7 tabs, we've got 2 things to look at, the what and the who, and then we can send it. So let's do that. Here, I can come in here and edit the text, but in fact, this one I don't need to. I'll just check it over. It's all good. So I've checked that. Let's hit next. And this one lets me change who I'm sending to. So maybe I want to send to the whole organization. We're a single site organization. If I need to, I can change this. I'm not going to. This is a demo. I'm going to send it to me only. So once we've checked who, and you can see we've got text messaging enabled. We've got the clients on the desktops and the laptops enabled as well. So let's publish this, and we'll get a confirmation. And there we go. We were able to send it just in a few seconds. We didn't have to go back and double check, triple check all our tabs. We got that out a lot faster. Okay, so that's Quick Publish, using Quick Publish. Now I'm going to go back over here. Oh, and it came through. That was quick. Wow, the last time I tested this, it took a minute and a half. This time, you know, my computer was synchronizing and it came through right away. So that's my alert. This is the message that we just sent through on Quick Publish. And I have a dual screen. You can't see my monitor on the left, but this is showing up on all my screens, by the way. Close that. Okay, I'm going to come back over to my full screen mode here, and we'll move along. So just to summarize, Quick Publish, we take a existing alert, you turn it into a template, you lock down what people can do with that template, you can lock down who has access to it, and there we go, we're saving you some time. So now this is something that you will see, only some administrators will see it. Here's a screenshot of the administrator details. It's under General. Look under Permissions down near the bottom, and you'll see Quick Publish Administrator. If you tick that button and save it for any admin, that Quick Publish entry is going to show up on the left. And again, this is a different feature. It's not included by default with alerts. It's an additional offering from SnapComms. Okay. And don't forget, again, here you want to make sure you have several administrators set up to access that area, not just one. Okay, and just to finish off on this bit, bookmarking, I've talked about that a little bit, that I do bookmark that page to make it easy to get to. And I also wanted to say this makes it possible, too, to trigger SnapComms alerts from your mobile phone. I know our site, the Content Manager site, there's a lot to an alert, and it can be quite tricky on a mobile phone to go through all the options and send. With Quick Publish, though, I've done it myself. I've set it up just as a backup in case I'm ever away from my desk. I need to send something. You know, someone's at home and you really need an alert out, they're not even at the office, you could conceivably send one. Of course, it depends on your network setup, if you can access it from your mobile phone, the network page for the content manager, but I wanted to put that forward as a possibility. I think it's a really good one. And before we move on to the next section, not only do we have Quick Publish, but there's a lot of other features, other things you may not be using in SnapComms that are great for crises. So just be aware of them if this is something that's important to you. We do have the mobile app. We have push notifications. We can tie into text messaging or SMS. You can get digital signage extensions too, where if you have flat screens around a large area, you could get these critical messages up there as well. We can even go to email, good old email. You can trigger emails at the same time as these visual alerts. And lastly, integration. If you have an emergency system, other systems in place, you can trigger SnapComms alerts from other systems. That's some of our customers have done that too. So, but that's getting pretty, there's a lot you could do there if you want to. So now that we've had a look at alerts and then this Quick Publish, Extrabit, how to set that up for crisis ahead of time, here's the last pieces that really are necessary to make sure it's going to fly. First off, test, test, test. Definitely you want to test these ahead of time. Send these out to yourself, make sure they look right on your screen. Send them out to a group, get feedback, see if the message made sense. Just do this so you can optimize it. So first off, you can be very comfortable with what you've sent. Make sure what you intended to have happen is happening. The third kind of test I think is very valid is to your audience. Do an emergency drill. Let them know about it ahead of time, of course. Publicize it. Make sure they're expecting it. You don't want to scare them, right? So make sure your content in the message is appropriate. But send it out and see what they think. Get feedback. Get feedback from your audience. Find out what resonated, what was confusing. And of course, you ask them these specific questions and you adjust. You adjust and you tweak, and maybe you find out this kind of crisis, alerts are great for it. This other kind of crisis, let's use another vehicle. You're going to find out all sorts of stuff from your audience that is going to help you. Lastly, any kind of critical message you set up, of course, you're going to need to revisit it. You're going to want to sanity check it 6 months down the road, maybe 3 months, maybe a year, up to you. But check the logos that you have in there, check the hyperlinks, check the locations, the distribution list. Just check all that. Make sure it's still valid how you set it up a while back. And certainly you can add scenarios as you go. That's why at the beginning we asked you pick one thing that you would like to set up. Just set up one type of message now and just add more scenarios as you go. And administrator training, I know I've touched on that at a couple of points through this presentation, but definitely make sure your administrators know what they're doing. I think that's the biggest reason companies or administrators are a little hesitant to use SnapComms for crisis. They don't use it every day all the time. And it is a very powerful tool, and they're a little hesitant to use it. So make sure they have that training. You can get as much set up as ahead of time so they don't have to just depend on their training, but give them the training so they're comfortable enough to use it when the time comes. And here's a little checklist for you. Define the scenarios you want. This is seriously just for you to look at later in terms of going through these steps and getting ready. So that is what we had prepared for you. So define your messages, get your alerts set up. Hopefully we gave you some things to think about here. And let's see, questions. I'm going to come through and ask you one more time for some questions. All right, and I have a question here for alert templates, and I'm sorry I didn't see this earlier. For alert templates, is there a way to create one with the tool? And we do, at the moment, we upload alert templates for you. It's not a standard administrator feature for you to upload the templates yourself. We we give you the specifications and then we preload them for you. Okay, and what other questions? Where can we get the job aids for alerts that were mentioned in the beginning of the presentation? I'll send you some of that. I think I know what you mean, so I can send you the link in the follow-up email to this presentation. And any other questions? Is Quick Publish an extra feature? I answered that one. Yes, it is. And I have another question here, which I think we covered when I demoed. Is it possible to save more than one preset for Quick Publish? And absolutely, you can save as many as you like. And let me quickly show you that because it's really straightforward. What I'm going to do here, I'll go into an existing message that I have. Here we go. So here's a normal alert message. And I'm just going to bypass everything, head over to the Publish tab, and excuse my screen here. So here, if you look at the bottom, I've got a button. Well, if I can get that out of the way. Create Content Template. I have a button here that says Create Content Template. That's part of Quick Publish. And if I click on this, my message is ready to go. I get this little wizard. And Phil, thanks for reminding me about this. So here's where you can decide exactly what you want your administrators to be able to change and what you want to lock down. You'll see the message, the actual message content, that's always visible. But everything else, you can, if I click this box, if I want delivery options, if I want them to be able to change that, I tick that box, it will show up. And if I don't want them to change it, if I want it locked down, I just leave it all blank there. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll turn on, let me turn on one of these so you can see what that looks like. So I hit create and you can see this emergency evacuation alert. It's still there. It hasn't moved. Nothing's happened to it. But I have a confirmation, and if I go to Quick Publish, well, here we go. We'll have a new template at the top. So you see here, Emergency Evacuation 1. It's got a 1. It had the same name as an existing template, so now we have a 1. But that's the one I've just created. So any alert, at the moment it's alerts only, any alert that you have that you want to turn into a Quick Publish template, you can do that. And also, you know, if you really you can get quite sophisticated and have different categories of alert templates available to be found as well, you know, if you really end up with a lot of them. Okay, so let me pull back over here. And you know what? Thank you for your time. I encourage you not to wait. Get started. Just get started. You know, see what's happening in your organization and align with it, of course. But look at what you need and set something up and just get started with it. And again, SnapComms, you know, our motto and our focus, I suppose our mission is really to help you get the right message to the right people, the right place, the right time, every time. That's our slogan. And we really thank you. Thank you again for your attention, and send through any questions. We will be sending you a link to the slides so you have all the hyperlinks that we've shown you, and we'll also send you a link to the recording as well. Thanks again. Have a great day, and I wish you all the best with your crisis messaging.